Jaime, I can't believe it. We were with you just 2 weeks ago on the training program with our students, and now we are all here in La Palma. It's extraordinary.
Extraordinary, unbelievable. I mean, we were studying the underground water, and all of a sudden we have a volcano in front of us. So again, the geology is such a fantastic topic, such a fantastic field of knowledge that you have these processes, and for us in Europe it's so difficult to be able to watch an active volcano that we are actually very lucky to can experiment that. All these guys have been studying, and they are studying in books and in internet and trying to research a lot of information, but they have the lessons on the back. I mean, we are actually watching the lessons of volcanology, and this is such a valuable knowledge that it's a fantastic experience for them that are young and they are beginning to study, and for us that have been expecting a volcanic eruption for a long time.
And just tell us a little bit about what you're doing here in La Palma yourself, Jaime.
Well, I'm working with a group of Complutense University and Rey Juan Carlos that they came from Madrid to study the lava flows. So we are trying to make measurements about the speed of the lava flows, the directions of the lava flows, trying to find out which is the way that the lava flow are going to go. So we can actually warn the authorities, the control center, that what we expect, and actually what we were expecting is the way that the lava flow of the north mouth is actually having. You know, we were expecting Toloque to move away, to be removed, and that's what has happened.
In fact, it's happened just now while we've been watching you being filmed here. We saw the smoke go up. How are you feeling? Because there's one thing doing the scientific measurements and giving an advance warning, but when you see that smoke go up into the sky, and you know this historic building, the church with beautiful Canarian pine that's gone up in smoke that we were all hoping was going to be saved, how do you feel about that?
Well, I feel sad for my friends and family that live here in La Palma. You know, I know a lot of people are suffering a lot, and obviously for me it's a kind of a sweet and sour feeling, because you are experimenting this, but on the other hand you have people suffering. And I have been witness this morning of people being evacuated from their homes, taking their animals, their furniture. We were even witnesses the other day of international robbery, a person who was trying to steal on the houses, put in the handcuff by the civil guard. And this man was a professional. He has just arrived from somewhere else, trying to steal houses of the people. So
knowing the eruption was going on, he came here deliberately just to steal?
Yeah, we met him one day pretending that he has just missed his road, and we asked him, where are you going? And he said, I'm lost. But the next day we saw him again in the same point, and the civil guards had detained him and put the handcuff, because this guy was trying to steal the property to the people. It's so unfair for these people that they have been working so hard to have these houses, and now they are losing everything. And on the top of that, you have these really bad people trying to make create this damage to them. So
that's just heartbreaking. But also on the other side, we have also seen some incredible acts of solidarity here as well. Have you seen any of those firsthand that you'd like to tell us about?
Absolutely. I have seen solidarity of people from everywhere on the world. You know, it's everyone that is coming to the island are thinking about the islanders. Obviously there are people who only want to take these selfies or the funny picture, but there are a lot of people trying to help. And for me, that's very important. People not only from the Canary Islands, but from the mainland, from Europe, that they are trying to put their efforts just to help the people of La Palma. And I think that the people of La Palma know that the majority of the people are coming out, are trying to help them.
Now, Jaime, you are the grandson of the famous geologist Telesforo Bravo. It must have a particular poignancy for you to be here in La Palma, witnessing and working on a volcanic eruption. Can you put that into words for us, please?
Yes, that's, I mean, I have been thinking so much about my granddad and my dad that came 50 years ago. They were the first geologists on the field to arrive to Teneguía. For them, Teneguía was a very pleasant experience, because the Teneguía was a smaller volcano that doesn't create any problem at all on the island. Well, obviously there were 2 people dying because they died because of the gases, because they got on the area that was not allowed to get in, but eventually they went there. One of them was a fisherman, another one was a tourist. But in this case it's completely different, because Teneguía occur many miles away, and no people are living in that area. But this is completely different. I mean, you have a volcano in front of a lot of neighborhoods, a lot of streets, roads, even a school was destroyed the other day. And it's heartbreaking, you know, and the whole island are suffering a lot, people crying everywhere. I was told by a friend that when they are trying to bring the children to the school, whenever they feel the sound or they feel an earthquake, they start to cry, and that's so heartbreaking, you know. So it's, as I said, it's sweet and sour at the same time.
Now, on some of our live connections with the students here that we've been doing from La Palma in front of the eruption, we've been saying that the problem with, if you like, with the study of volcanoes is that we don't know enough yet. You know, we don't know enough with precision to be able to get ahead of it. We know there might be an eruption coming, we might have some signals, some precursors to say the general area where it's going to be, but it's actually a science that's going to require a multidisciplinary approach.
Absolutely.
Would you agree?
And we need also a lot of coordination between countries, because we have people from Italy, we have people from very strong volcanic countries. They know a lot, and we should try to share more knowledge with other people. We should try to make a kind of a European link, trying to put all this knowledge together, because as you said, when you don't have a volcanic eruption for many years, you just forget it, you know.
So you're saying it's a multidisciplinary approach. How do you feel science will evolve in that respect in the next few years? So if an eruption is here every 30 years, will we be better placed to help the population? What will be different, do you think?
Absolutely. I mean, we have to develop the whole system. I mean, the difference this time is that we have a couple of teams working on the field, and they could monitorize the process, and they could actually warn with certain precision, with certain accurate information what was going on. But we need more coordination. We are even able to be more precise. We are even able to actually know the areas that are going to be affected. So I think that we should go on that way. We should actually improve a lot in the emergency system. We should improve also about how the teams work on the field, because now we have a lot of teams working everywhere, researching a lot and taking a lot of data, but there are not a central authority that are taking all that data and actually doing something with that. So the work we are doing should be connected with the other team that is working very close to us, because otherwise every single team are doing the same thing, and that's not acceptable. I mean, we are using public money, and that's a good point. I mean, that's a crucial point. We should be efficient with that. And so for me, should be one coordinator of the whole eruption, and this person should actually organize with the team all the field work, and that's something for me that's absolutely crucial.
And it might be slightly controversial at this point in the eruption to ask you this question, but you know, there are a lot of news announcements made, a lot of science being divulged. How much of that do you think is actually helpful right now?
It's not helpful at all. I mean, I could talk about what I feel about the eruption, what I see on the field, but at the very end, maybe it's my opinion, maybe it's my statement, and because of that, it's because I'm talking about this coordinator and this data, because the data that I'm taking on the field should be discussed by the committee, by the different scientists, in order to have one conclusion. Because if I go to the media now and say what I think, maybe the other guy or the other girl just beside me are going to say completely the opposite, and that's what is going on now. You have Joan Martí or some people from Barcelona saying one thing, and then you have some people who is here saying another thing, and then, I mean, there is no point to be fussing the people, because the people are reading newspapers, the people are listening to the radio, watching television, and they are so nervous about it. They are very nervous. So we need one voice for what is going on at the moment.
Do you think there is time for that though? Because we live in a world of 24-hour news, of social media. People want the news now. They want to know exactly what's happening. Do you think that's realistic? I mean, how would we be able to do that?
Well, it's like a war state at the moment. This is like a war, and in a war you have to be very disciplined. I mean, you can be fussing, you should actually give the information, the proper information, the accurate information. The all other way of working is bad for the people. So what I feel is that obviously there are medias that are trying to sell their products. They are trying to get a lot of attention.
Yes.
I can understand that. But on the other hand, think about the feelings of the people. It's not about, this is not about a carnival or that we have once during the year in Tenerife or in the Canary Islands. A lot of people come. It's not a fiesta. This is a war. So during a war, you have to be very careful about the information you give the people, and should be accurate and precise. Otherwise, it's not good enough.
That in a way is happening with the science community as well. I sometimes get the feeling that this is a bit of a shop window. It's a terrible thing to say, but look, this is what we can do, this is the photo we can get you, this is the data we can get you. And sometimes I get the feeling that it's more about trying to grab headlines in order to justify future funding rather than anything else.
Absolutely. That's my perception, and not only my perception. It's a perception of a lot of people who are working on the field. It's not about getting fund for next projects. Obviously everyone wants to get more money for their research, but everything is overcast by the suffering of the people. In this case, I don't mind. We want the best surveillance we could provide for the people. It's not about who is putting a medal. It's about serving the people, and that's what the geoscience community are trying to do, and this crowd and your students are trying to learn about. This is not about competing. Oh, look about this ego, how big I am as a geologist. It's about how I help the people, how I provide very accurate science for the people. That's what we should try to encourage on them, and we should actually be an example for them.
So you're actually sitting next to some of the scientists of tomorrow. What word of advice would you give to them as they go forward with their careers, given what you've been saying now?
Well, I trust on them because I know they are very clever people. I know they know a lot. I know they are highly trained, and they are being trained in the proper way. I only will recommend them just to be very trustful, very confident on their own abilities. Don't have any hesitation to give your opinion, and also don't lose the human side of the science, never, because this is, as I said before, this is about helping the people. It's not about how big I am. To be big means that you are serving better the people. That's the message I want to give you. I know you are going to do it very well because I know your abilities. Don't think that you are above anyone. You can do it very well, but work hard and try not to lose the human perspective. That's my advice. Okay, so.